Sri Vasudevanand Saraswati, Chapter 10. Arrival in Garudeshwar. Sri Vasudevanand sojourn in Gujarat through Shinoor and Tilakwada on the banks of Narmada was mysteriously planned to be terminated by him at Garudeshwar in the Broch district of Gujarat. When he arrived there, he was inspired by Lord Dattatreya to elect holy spot as the point of his final eternal rest and peace at the end of his earthly mission undertaken with the purpose of Dharma Sanstapana or the resurrection of the spiritual values in this age. It is said that the saint one day declared in intimate tones to one of his disciples who was near him that he would not think of shifting to any other place from Garudeshwar in future. This spontaneous remark confirmed the hopes of his bhaktas that Gurudev would be near them as their philosopher and guide as they wanted him to be. Garudeshwar enjoys the same prestige in Gujarat as Ganagapur does in the south of Maharashtra in the opinion of the Datta Upasakas scattered over the two regions. As has been already observed before, the three holy places of Gunj, Ganagapur and Garudeshwar, hallowed by the sacred memories of Yoganand, Narsimha Saraswati, and Vasudevanand Saraswati, have been the centers where the torch of Datta Upasana has been kept brightly kindled even to this day. Sri Rang Avadut has observed in his Namasudha that Sri Pada Sri Vallabha, Narsimha Saraswati and Vasudevanand together form the Holy Trinity representing on this earth the Divine Trinity of Lord Dattatreya. Hail to thee, Vasudev, who thou art the eternal incarnation of Sri Pada Sri Vallabha and Narsimha Saraswati arrived in the Kali age as savior of mankind. The choice of Garudeshwar by our saint as his final abode of rest cannot be said to be a mere accident but has a significance of sanctity behind it. A mythological episode is there to its credit. There is an accident story that a demon called Gajasur, probably because he had the huge form and likeness of an elephant, came in conflict with Garud the eagle, supposed to be the lord among the birds or Pakshiraj. There was a deadly war waged between them, and Gajasura, the demon, was disgracefully vanquished. The eagle attacked him violently. His skull was isolated from the body, and the demon fled away and resorted to the deep waters of Narmada around the present spot. He practiced penance to propitiate God Shiva. Shiva, in his proverbial loving mercy and innocence, was greatly pleased with the demon's austerities and asked him to choose a boon. Gajasur intelligently asked the favor of a boon through which he secured three things. The demon prayed, O Lord, in memoriam of this great day of visit to me, let this part of my penance be immortalized on the earth. Let it be associated with the name of Garud, my victor, who in a way has obliged me by fleeing me into the waters and compelled me to undertake penance for thy propitiation. And lastly, O Lord, I wish to see thee wear my skin as thy waistcloth permanently hereafter in thy great love for me. Shiva granted it all and added, Thou shalt have this all and more. This place, sanctified by thy penance, will be dear to me, and I promise to be here forever. Even the ground where the skull or the karat had fallen will be a sacred spot known as Karateshwar. Thy wishes are granted. This legend further adds that Lord Vishnu also followed Shiva in appreciation of the penance of Gajasur and of his generosity and absence of enmity towards Garud, which is Vishnu's heavenly vehicle, and addressed the demon saying, This region along the banks of Narmada has already been purified by the austerities of the sage Narad, who won here self realization and peace through the grace of the divine young sage Sanat Kumar, whom he had approached in search of these blessings of life. Hence, this spot is referred as Naradeshwar by the sages who honor Narad. Thy defeat has brought to thee a real victory, O demon. The myth has a deeper meaning for those who pause to think of it. This holy place of pilgrimage has such an innate power in the atoms of its dusts or in the drops of its waters that even a demonic soul like Gajasur could free himself from the Asuri Sampat, from the diabolical traits of personality, and convert himself into the possessor of Daivi characteristics or the godly virtues through his penance and spiritual discipline. When a subhuman soul could achieve this under the influence of the spiritual climate of this region, no wonder that human beings should resort to it for their own uplift and progress. There is another point which catches our attention in a subtle manner. Both Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu bless the demon with equal affinity and grace. This sets at rest the ignorant controversy of the superiority of one god over the other based on the fanatic conceptions of the Shaivas and the Vaishnavas, who sadly forget the fundamental unity of the gods like Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma, which has been the repeated warning to us through our ancient scriptures. How significant is the fact that Vasudevanand, who represents the school of Advaitins, respecting the incarnation of the Holy Trinity converged into Dattatreya, should choose Garudeshwar as his abode to the last moment of his earthly mission. Kalidasa, the Sanskrit poet, sums up the characteristic manner the idea of unity of all the divine incarnations in a verse of his Raghuvamsha. Homage to thee who hast donned the threefold forms. Thou as Brahma art the creator of the universe. As Vishnu thou art the sustainer of it. And as Rudra thou thyself art the one who bringest it to an end. The presence of Vasudevanand raised this holy and sacred spot to a higher level of sanctity, as it were, in a manner which reminds us of a compliment offered to the holy Bhakta Uddhava by the sages who received him in their ashrama in the Himalayas. Bhagavata Purana records this observation. O great sage, the bhaktas like you are the very spirit of the holy place themselves. For souls like you, in whose heart Lord Krishna is enshrined, enhance the holiness of the holy places indeed. Even the Narad Bhakti Sutras confirm this view, that is, the holy saints bring as it were a profound sanctity to the scriptures themselves by their own studies and conduct in conformity with them. What wonder then that Garudeshwar itself, so naturally hallowed and holy, should have been a choice of Vasudevanand, whose arrival and stay converted it into a religious resort of repute and faith among the devotees and upasakas of Bhagwan Dattatreya.
Jai Thembe Swami.